How you doing? You're back for part 2 of lesson 1, really, the basic nutrition. The next thing we're going to look at is moving on to pretty much what foundation nutrition should play in like a fitness and weight loss program. Now, every weight loss and fitness program requires a well-balanced nutritional foundation. The key being the well-balanced part. Okay, so food and drink, of course, is the body's fuels. Despite what some fad diets would have you believe, it's not good to cut out fats or carbs, nor is it good to starve the body of any kind of nutrients or any kind of food group that you should be getting. All right, now you've probably heard all that before, but do you really understand what it means? So basically, what we've got here is like the pyramid of an effective weight loss or fitness program, and you can see that right at the very bottom, nutrition is key. If you haven't got a solid base foundation of sound, well-balanced nutrition, then the rest of it just cannot support itself. Following that, you need an effective exercise program, and also you need quality rest. Now, rest is the time when your body becomes stronger, it becomes faster, fitter, and this is the time when the body's making adaptations that a lot of people believe happens inside the gym. Now, if you're not getting the right nutrition, it can't make these adaptations. It can't become stronger, it can't get faster or fitter, and it can't build muscle. Alright, as well as, if you don't have the right base level of nutrition, you're not going to have enough energy to conduct the kind of training that you want to do. Alright, so I can't stress enough how important nutrition is. Okay, so a couple of points then. With a solid nutritional foundation, you could have that glamour model figure or achieve that optimum performance, but one thing is for sure: without a sound nutritional foundation, you definitely won't. The next thing we're going to look at is the basic food groups. Now, you would have heard all these terms before, but I'm guessing that the majority of you don't really understand exactly what constitutes certain food groups. Alright, so first of all, we need to know what food does and basically what it is. In basic terms, just to keep on your toes, there's 5 main food groups. Each of different uses in the body and are required in different amounts. First of all, carbohydrates. This is a real common one. Again, we'll talk about what constitute carbohydrates in a bit, but let's just fly through the food groups so you know them. Proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals, and also water, which I've classed in these basic food groups because it's just as essential as the kind of food intake that you take on board. Okay, so let's have a look at carbohydrates to start with. In basic terms, carbs should be seen pretty much as sugars. Alright, they provide energy for the body and be classed as 2 types. First one is simple carbs. Now, these are the kind of carbs that ideally you want to learn to avoid if possible. So simple carbs, I'm talking about bread, maple syrup or like syrup, like refined sugar, sweet or confectionery, the sugar that you would find in cakes, potatoes, cereals, white bread, white pasta, white rice, and that kind of thing. Okay, now like it says, these are easily absorbed into the bloodstream and give you this big spike in blood sugar levels, which can then lead on to a big drop in blood sugar levels and make you hungry and crave more sweet stuff. Okay, the second class of carbohydrates is a complex carbohydrate. Now, basically the difference is that the complex ones molecularly a lot more heavily structured, and it takes time to break them down. They've got to be processed by the liver, so you can understand straight away that it's going to give you a slower release of energy into your bloodstream than a simple carb. Alright, so you're not going to get these peaks and troughs, and you're not going to be craving other sweets and chocolates and stuff like that. Now, the key point here is working out what a complex carb is and what a simple carb is, and later on I'll have a video specifically about carbohydrates, and I'll show you some good examples of what each are, and also teach you ways of making your simple carbs provide the energy but in a slower release, so you don't get the peaks and troughs. Okay, so your total calorie intake of carbs, and the proportion that carbs should take up of your diet should be between 55 and 60%. Moving on, proteins. Now, proteins are the very building blocks of the body. They're used to rebuild and repair tissue and can also be used as energy in extreme cases of starvation. And that's an inbuilt sort of system really that cavemen evolved for when there's times when there weren't any woolly mammoths or whatever to chase around and kill. Or they couldn't get, perhaps the winter time, and they couldn't get any of the carbs, the grass, the nuts, the berries, or whatever they was eating. So basically, the body became got the ability to break down some of the muscle that it had, and use that as energy. Now, which is what a lot of the fad diets try to get you to do by heavily restricting carbs. In future videos, I'll explain to you the process that happens in the body when you restrict the body heavily of carbs. Now, this isn't a good way to lose weight for a lot of different reasons. One of the fundamental ones is the brain can only use carbs as energy. All right, so the very thing that's keeping us going can't use broken down protein or fats to fuel itself. It needs to be fed carbs. Again, this is one of the reasons why it's not a good idea to heavily restrict the amount of carbs that you take in. Now, protein can be obtained from both animal and plants, and basically what you're after is a varied mix of quality protein, lean meats, and plant foods, so that you get an overall health for the body. So your total calorie intake should be 10 to 15% of proteins. Okay, moving on to fats. So fats again provide the body with energy, but also do a lot more. So they give the body warmth, protection, and insulation, and is also used in the uptake of some vitamins and minerals, which I'll talk about in a bit. Now, many fad diets ban fatty foods. This not only places the body into like a state of starvation, but it's also unhealthy, because the vitamins and minerals that are dissolved in fat are not being dissolved and therefore not being absorbed by the body if you're not eating certain types of fats. Similar to carbs, there's basically good fats and bad fats, and again, you've probably heard these terms before, but not entirely sure what constitutes a saturated fat or an unsaturated fat. And basic terms, saturated fat, anything that's solid at room temperature. So if you look at the meat down here, you can see they've got marbling in the meat. That's saturated fat. It's solid at room temperature. Butter, margarine, dairy products, the kind of fat that you would find in biscuits, chocolate. That's all saturated fat, and that's fat to be avoided. But then you've also got unsaturated fat. So anything that's liquid at room temperature, such as olive oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, flaxseed oil. There's a million different types of oils, but also the oil that's contained in fish, in nuts, and some dairy products. That's the kind of fats that you want to take on board, because these are like the healthier fats. Your total calorie intake should be about 30% made up of fats. Okay, vitamins and minerals required for many of the body's functions, including the immune system, and they help us stay healthy. Eating a variety of food, including lots of fresh fruit and veg, is a good way to ensure the body gets all the vitamins it needs. The body basically needs very minute amounts of vitamins and minerals, which are basically chemicals and metals that the body uses to move fluid around the body, or to cause certain chemical reactions within deep within the body. As a rule of thumb, to make sure you're getting enough vitamins and minerals, try to fill your plate with as many colours as possible throughout the day. And remember the old 5-a-day rule. That's a good place to start to make sure that you're getting all the vitamins and minerals that you need. Again, I'll talk about vitamins and minerals a little bit more in depth in the future. But as long as the three main food groups, your proteins, fats and carbohydrates, as long as you get them in from quality sources, you don't really have to worry about vitamins and minerals unless you're heavily pregnant or you've got some kind of diagnosed vitamin or mineral deficiency. The final one we'll talk about is water. Water makes up a considerable part of the body. It's essential that you remain hydrated all the time in order for your body to function correctly. And also, if you've engaged on some kind of exercise program, you need to be hydrated, because if you're dehydrated, then it'll affect your performance ultimately. Water also keeps the metabolism ticking over throughout the day, which even flat on your back will burn more calories than someone that's dehydrated and the metabolism isn't working at 100%. There's a golden rule that if you feel thirsty, then you're already dehydrated. All right, your urine should be clear at all times. You should aim to consume about 2 litres of water a day, and if you're training quite heavily, then that can go up to 3.5 litres of water a day.